Check it out. Flip mode squad, Raw Deluxe shit, 98. Check it out, yeah. I be the street shit, the nigga your mama freak with. Put y'all niggas on if y'all know how to keep it secret. When I get money, you know I like to keep it. How I get money, niggas that try to peep it. Flip mode, be niggas you wanna form a team with. Them get money niggas, the ones that plot the scheme with. Them niggas that be used to getting money frequent. The ones I would always measure my triple beam with. Until they start taking my niggas to the precinct. That's all back in the day, yo, that ain't nothing recent. Cause nowadays we need bitches we like to speak with, eat with, lay them down and sleep with. Type of pussy make a nigga wanna keep it. Shorty be so exotic, she looking decent. Lot of corny niggas be offering whack free shit. I can't hold a heat no more, yo, I gotta release it. What y'all wanna do? Don't you know we always coming through? Me and my crew, let me hear you say fired up. Say fired up. To all my dogs that stay blunted, roll around in the 500 all day. Let me hear you say fired up. Say fired up. Come on. Now, every time that I meet a nigga who fronted this alright, cause we getting money and everybody want it. Smoke a big split, get myself over blunted, fall on the floor, and I gotta call my S500 Iceberg 5. Where you at?
No need for alarm. Right now I'm cruising to the sounds of my enhanced CD-ROM.
Hurry up, 5, and yo, you know it's about to get thick. I see this cat way behind my back, about to do a stick.
Tell me where you at, I will be there in 10 seconds flat. You know I got your back, I'll be there just in time to counteract.
Sometimes I might forget my S5 bulletproof. I turbo move and blast right through your motherfucking roof. Coming through hitting you, knocking out a nigga tooth. Full speed ahead like we running a toll booth. Produce more flavor than very fine juice. Call a juice before me and my niggas are let loose. All my ladies in the place to be, getting money riding next to me. Let me see, let me hear you say fired up. Say fired up. All my people just wave your hand, getting money all across the land. One time, let me hear you say fired up. Say fired up. Release the heat, we letting loose to the extreme. We in the Iceberg S5, bounce from the scene. Recline my seat, rock to the beat, leaning so hard, it's like my whole squad up in the Jeep. Blowing up the spot and we hit them, know what I mean. Got you open, we keeping you niggas up like caffeine. Flying guillotine, seeing everything on my little computer screen. From here to Philippines, keep it moving, we never run out of gasoline. Gas me, I arson a nigga with kerosene. Me get my vibe, be running the mission you never seen. Hot shit, making you niggas forever fiend. Any one of you coming, you better come clean. Hit you with an overdose, some more rhyme amphetamine. Got your eye bloodshot, you need Visine. Niggas is wildin', I think you need to ring the siren. What y'all wanna do? Don't you know we always coming through? Me and my crew, let me hear you say fired up. Say fired up. To all my dogs that stay blunted, roll around in the 500 all day. Let me hear you say fired up. Say fired up. To all my ladies in the place to be, getting money riding next to me. Let me see, let me hear you say fired up. Say fired up. To all my people just wave your hand, getting money all across the land. One time, let me hear you say fired up. Say fired up. Come on.
Alright, so this is the hip-hop call again, Thunder R.T. Tonight we're going to be doing a few things, song by book, by the book, so Redman's debut album. I might know artists, I've always start with the debut album. And then the album you get a feel for artists past. Then what they're about and stuff. Whereas this stuff is the late album, I don't get that. I like to tend to do that. So I think this album was in like 1994. Anyway, we'll go on to the Busta Rhymes song. Just listen to it now. I can only find the censored version. I know R.T sent me the uncensored version, but I do remember most of the lyrics. I don't know this song. It's basically it uses a sample of Night Rider beat. You know what I mean? That sample. It's basically, you know. I don't know what year was this song released? Do you know?
It was, if I'm not mistaken, I think it was Ep.8.
Yeah, it sounds like that kind of beat. Doesn't sound mid 90s or early 90s. So like mid 90s to me, like more drums and more hardcore sounding than the late 90s. We're getting on that kind of Chinese suits era kind of beat. You know what I'm saying? So it's like if you look at the Lox's first album, it was a bit like that with the beats. They were very kind of softer and more funk related beats. I'd say this is a bad beat, it's a sick beat, but by the style of the beats I noticed it seems to change from like the kind of hardcore street beat, more like a funk sound, but then we've got that kind of jiggy sound, you know what I mean, that kind of puffy sound that was coming out around like this. Well, this is kind of not really that sound, but it's kind of typical of the beat. Then it's like very the songs basically has the theme of Night Rider, not only with the beat but also with the lyrics. You know, and the lyric where he says, "Oh, I'm about to get stuck, come and meet me on so and so block," or something like that. And you hear like a voice like someone talking like the car does, you know, like in the TV series where the car self-aware, you know what I mean? So I'm referencing that in the song, like making out like it's he's got the Night Rider car with him, you know what I mean? The song, plus the version I heard, I can't remember all the lyrics, but some of them were censored to the version. Definitely one of Busta's better songs. Like some songs don't feel by Busta. There's another one like where in like a kind of cartoon house or something like that. That's a memorable one. I don't know what that was called though, but I remember seeing it. Like a woman. He's in like he's in like some kind of house or something like that, like cartoon style. That was cool. Yeah, this song's like Night Rider theme, or like, you know,
I remember when I first heard that track, man. It was during a time frame where I was looking into the New World Order, Freemasonry, the Illuminati, secret societies. And I remember when I peeped that video, because, you know, I've been a Busta Rhymes fan from back in the days, you know, when he came up with the leaders of the new school and whatnot, then he went solo and whatnot. I go back to that time frame, you know what I'm saying, with his music and whatnot. Watched and heard him evolve as an artist, you know what I'm saying? That particular track, though, fired up. The remix with the Night Rider beat in it. That shit fucking, wow, like it stood out. Because, you know, of course, the beat, man, is illmatic. It gives it that perfect flow with the type of Busta Rhymes flow that you know, we're already used to. That's kind of fast and rugged. And at the same time, he's dropping little hints in there. You know what I'm saying? In the video, though, I'm saying. Because in the video, if anyone's familiar with it, you can see how it takes place in sort of like 1984, you know, what is that movie? Yeah, the George Orwell version, 1984. And it pretty much depicts like a dictator and Big Brother. And what you whole bunch of people, bald-headed, with serial barcodes on the back of their necks. And the video starts off that way. You know what I mean? And when I heard that shit, the remix version, I was like, yo, that shit is tight, man. But people gotta also listen to what Busta was saying and showing in the video. Because Busta said something not too long ago, like I was mentioning to you before, Jay, on Drink Champs, Lori's Drink Champs. He had mentioned in that interview, he said, when you drop in science like that, when you drop in knowledge, jewels and shit like that, you don't want to preach to a motherfucker, right? Because I don't like to be preached to. This is his words. So what I do is, you know, think about when you were a kid and your mom wants to give you some medicine. Even though it tastes nasty, you ain't gonna take it. And she knows you ain't gonna take it because that's why she gotta camouflage you with some orange juice or some sweet juice, something that is gonna make it taste kind of like candy. So she mixes up the medicine with some candy so you can drink it and take it. He said he used that metaphor to show how he puts in things that people need to hear, people that need to understand, and he mixes the fun stuff and shit that will bring the people in, you know, like the fun and the bob head, you know, the head bobbing, and, you know, getting into the flow of the music and the night rider beat and all that. So that way he could drop some jewels too at the same time. That shit, that was a dope, like wisdom type of perception right there, man. Does it make sense? And I can see what he's talking about. But going back to that track, man, that track is dope, man, because, like I said, you know, I grew up also in the 80s, and one of my favorite shows was Knight Rider. There was a few other ones, like I think it was Blue Thunder, which was a helicopter, Night Wolf, which was a helicopter also, or Airwolf. I'm not sure if it, yeah, Airwolf. Night Wolf is a character at Mortal Kombat, pardon me. Airwolf, and then Street Hawk was like a motorcycle, but Knight Rider was like my favorite one out of all of them. Michael Knight, and then Kit, K-I-T-T, which is the computerized voice that Night of Thunder was talking about earlier, that Busta Rhymes was mimicking on that track. And, you know, he freaked it, man, as he usually does, man. That shit came out tight. Hey, what are your thoughts on how the flow went for that track? Feel that it fitted perfectly, or
accurately?
It was like a misalignment somewhere, something that he should have done differently, or out of your opinion, you know what I'm saying, as an artist?
I think it worked, man. I can't think of much wrong with it, man. It just works with the beat. I didn't know there was a video to it, though, because I think the version you sent me didn't have a video, so I'll have to check that out.
Yeah, no, you're right. I didn't send you the video version.
Yeah,
what I'm going to do is on this particular, I'm going to add it to the description so others can check it out as well, and you can check it out. That was my bad, though, because I should have brought that up before, but somehow it went over my head, man. You know, I just wanted to get the HD version, the 30 version, not the clean version, but the, you know, the explicit one, the clearest one to you. And I think I found it, and I sent it to you. But the video is, you know, like I said, man, it depicts some 1984 dictator, big brother shit going on, with a whole bunch of people starts off in the video with people wearing like all black and bald-headed. They got barcodes on the back of their necks, pretty much, you know, stating the New World Order, the mark of the beast, and all that.
I've seen a lot.
So yeah, man.
That Gangstar one where Guru is in like a room, and it's like a white room, and it's like being watched on computer screens or some shit like that. I think it's full clip, 100% on, but I know
I think it is that one. That's one of my favorite tracks from Gangstar from Guru.
he's in like a room, and like they're watching him on computer screens with shit in the screen. And then like there's the Onyx on where it's DMX and Onyx where it's set in like a New World Order apocalyptic kind of dystopian society. I remember the song name for that. I think it shut them down. The video to that is like that kind of similar to what we're heading into now, you know, like the dystopian kind of poverty everywhere, streets abandoned due to, I don't think it has a pandemic in that, but like all the streets are abandoned and quiet, you know, kind of like what we've been seeing now. And of course you've got Mob Deep, Hell on Earth, that also has a very kind of like apocalyptic kind of feel to it, like, you know, there's been a lot of hip-hop videos and that kind of stuff.
Most definitely. I would have to agree.
I can't put them off the top of my head, but I'm sure I've seen many more of those kinds of themes incorporated.
That Mob Deep joint that you're talking about definitely had the apocalyptic joint, you know, behind it, like the feeling of it, the look.
Yeah, with like flames coming out of the floor and shit like that. Iconic looking shit in there that was around them and shit. Something like zombies or something. I think demonic or some shit like that. Yeah, some visionary live video. I'll have to check out the Busta Rhymes video for that. Fine. Well, I wasn't looking for that, but all the tracks that came up for that didn't seem to have it. So maybe YouTube using copyright. You know how they do, man. Like YouTube probably using copyright and hide it from people so people don't them up and shit. That's how they do it, man. It's like it's funny, right? This is on a different tip, but YouTube say they're against illegal content now. How come there's videos of people jumping on trains in Ukraine? Train hopping, which is technically illegal. YouTube's cool with that, right? But yeah, they'll block my videos because I have a difference of opinion to what's going on with this pandemic, right? Yeah, apparently they don't accept illegal content, but isn't that illegal content? You know what I mean? It just shows how political it is. And they don't shut you down because it's illegal. They shut you down because it's political, man. Or it goes against the narrative. You know?
Valid point right there, man.
It's like, man, come on, how come guys they're allowed to put that on YouTube? Like, people what they're doing. I mean, it's hardly like the crime of the century, but it's still illegal. How to do that? Yeah. Well, again, a channel shut down for like bullshit. Little things like, oh, copyright. Okay, we'll shut your channel down. Oh, you're saying coronavirus isn't real. Oh, I'll shut your channel down. Or even just film a testing center like I did. Oh, shut your will block you from uploading for a week to give you a strike, you know what I'm saying? Yeah, back to the hip hop shit. Definitely a lot of these artists were trying to warn. And also, of course, I mentioned this on another call where on 95 Live, which listen to that mixtape, man. That
Yeah, you were mentioning that before, and I've still yet to hear that, man. I gotta check that out.
Gotta check that shit out, man. That's one of the illest mixtapes ever. Artists on there, the Busta Rhymes freestyle on that. That's some shit like motherfuckers are looking at all other shit. Motherfuckers aren't realizing how real shit they're about to get. Niggas want to see, you know, it basically said some shit like that. You know, it's like saying how the government, you know, are trying to take your kids from you. All this kind of shit, like what they do now, where they say, oh yeah, they're mentally ill, children are caught off and shit like that. All kinds of shit, man. Definitely worth checking out that on YouTube. Anyone that wants to listen to that, you don't have to hunt for it anywhere. It's straight on YouTube. Search 195 Live. That's people say it's the best mixtape of all time.
I see. Yo, man, but that Busta Rhymes joint, man, I remember probably the 1998, 1999, going into the early 2000s, like when the millennium was about to hit, shit like that. Yeah, I heard that track, man. Like I said in that video that followed it up. Like, oh, man. Shit, that made me realize that I must have knew what was going on somehow. I didn't know back then how. I mean, I figured it out now because he said it. And I look back on it and I'm like, okay, yeah, that all pans out and makes sense. Then on Drink Champs, that there was someone who put him on to the book that I told you about. Behold the Pale Horse by William Cooper, may he rest in peace. He was exposing all of that shit. And there was an old G, I think it's R&B, old funk. You know, like the peoples that created funk, George Clinton. He has like rainbow colored dreads and shit, old school cat. He put him onto that shit. He said it on Drink Champs. I mean to bring up the same stuff that I said before on the call, because we already said all this on another call, but I just want to reiterate it to review for other people to remember, you know, how Busta Rhymes comes out with these type of videos and thoughts and ideas. He's influenced from books like Behold the Pale Horse. I think that George Clinton, old school funk artist, put him on. You know what I mean? So get to know like where these influences come from, so you can get a grasp of where their mentality and their perception is being molded. Because he said himself, you know, how most, if not all, of his albums throughout his career have been influenced in some way, shape, or form by that book.
Yeah, there was an album by a hip-hop group called Boogie Monsters, and they were very, you know, outspoken about this New World Order stuff too. I'd recommend you check their albums out. Riders of the Storm is the first one. I can't remember the name of the second one, but if you search it, you'll find it. But they've got a song, Behold a Pale Horse, on their second album. I think we should review that album at some point as well. That's
Sounds good to me.
Left on through, but they're pretty good. I believe one of them came pastor, I think. Yeah, they were very outspoken about this World Order shit, you know, Mark of the Beast. They made a song called Mark of the Beast. You know, they were talking about it a lot in their, especially the second one. Yeah, and they had, I guess they were inspired by that book too, so they probably named the song after that book. Pretty interesting album. We'll definitely have to get into that at some point. We've got it on my computer. So.
That's what's up. I definitely look forward to doing that right there.
Yeah.
Yo, Jay, man, so we could go into the segment when you're ready, man, as far as what you wanted to talk about with the Redman album.
So I listened to Redman's first album the other day. Well, over a period of about 2 weeks actually, since my MP3 player headphone cable conked out. So I had to get a new headphone cable. I was unable to listen to the album. I got there in the end. Yeah, it was a debut album. Most famous track that most people probably heard. The into hip hop that's on there is Night to the Night. And of course another one which is fairly famous is Time for Some Action. And I'm kind of mixed on this album. I'm going to give my honest opinion on it. I didn't dislike it, but I didn't like some of the songs on it. You know what I'm saying? Like some of the songs were a bit stupid, you know what I mean? But other songs were ill at the same time, you know what I mean? So it's like I was kind of mixed on that album. Like I think that one of the songs I didn't like was Superman Lover, that one, and a few of the other kind of songs. I didn't really hate any of the songs, but there were some songs I was like, nah, man, I'm not bothered about that. You know what I mean? When there's other songs I was like, yo, that shit was ill, man. Like, Nice Tonight, that's the one, which is probably my favourite one on the whole album. And one of my favourite Redman tracks. probably just beaten by How High with Method Man. How High songs, or the warm up, excuse me, as I kiss the sky, use on the trigger and a pocket full of line. So that one, that's probably my favourite Redman song. Well, it's not his track completely, but my favourite one that he's on. And Funkarama as well. That's another one of my favourite Redman. Yeah, man, this album is like pretty interesting. Definitely starts off quite hardcore with Time for Some Action. It's kind of silly, but at the same time, it builds, you know, and the lyricism is hardcore. I can't remember all the lyrics, but still, man, I honestly can't remember hardly any of the lyrics, because I have to listen to them right now to remember them, because it takes me a while to remember them. But I do remember, you know, most of the lyrics from Night to Night, so we'll get into that. That's probably my favourite track. So, you know, it starts off where it says some shit like, oh, what's it, Janet Jackson's asking if I can slam it, or something like that. Then the woman just goes, nah, Redman, nah, man. So we don't want that
What the fuck, man? Get off of that smooth shit, man. Kick some of that real shit, man. You know how we do.
My check. I walk around the streets with the black Tech 9 on the waistline, kicking out hype shit. I never claim to be the best kind of rapper, but I have to show the motherfuckers what I'm after. I'm after the gold, and after that the platinum. Beef after that Hurricane G, pack the gas, son. Trigger bang bang. Yo, bust the slang for my name. It's the red man on the funk thing. Yo, I can't remember the rest, but you know, that's pretty much how it goes from there.
Yeah, no doubt. Fuck yeah, man. Great. The whole joint was fun. That particular joint, Tonight's the Night.
Yeah, that's probably the illest track on the album. I mean, some of the tracks on that album, they don't really sound like, you know how some tracks where they will age well and they'll still sound ill years later. Tonight's the Night's one of them, and then other tracks you'll be like, yo, man, they sound, you can tell that's like, you know, it's past its time and it's like old school. But then there's some tracks that are like, yo, that shit still sounds hardcore and ill today. And Tonight's the Night is one of those tracks that still sounds ill to this day. You know what I mean?
I would most definitely have to agree with you on that.
Yeah, man, that's one of the best Redman tracks. That's the shining star on the album, I'd say. That's what makes the album. I mean, there's some tracks, like I said, where I don't feel them. You know what I mean? Like, I'll be honest, like the Man Lover one was... It's basically about him having sex with this woman nearly, and then finding out she's a man. I was like, what the fuck now, man? that's booked down, man.
Shit. That's
yeah, you know where he goes, oh, she had as big as mine, and then I left. It was quite funny, but I was like, nah, man. That's not really,
Yeah, Redman be on some real shit, but he also be on some, like, goofy shit from time to time. I noticed that.
Yeah, that's the thing with this album. It's all over the place. The album is kind of all over the place. You've got serious hardcore songs like Tonight's the Night. I think there was a freestyle called Hardcore, which was a skit from another song with EPMD, I think, on the album. Then you got Tonight. You've got Time for Some Action, which is like in the middle. It's kind of hardcore, but not serious as Tonight's the Night. Other songs you've got, like, I can't remember the rest of them. You know, I'd have to listen to the album right now to remember them. But there's one about to do with the police. I've been through like getting hit by the police. I can't remember the song's name. And then there was another one where there's like a skit where, like, oh yeah, there was that one where it's how to roll a blunt. That was alright. How to roll a blunt. That's how you roll a blunt. Well, it's a simple chorus.
Remember that?
Yeah, I can't remember the lyrics to it. It's beautiful. I thought that was okay.
I know you and I spoke on this before, man. That's why him and Method Man, make such a great team together. And on top of the fact that it's a genuine connection, they're actually real friends in real life. You know what I mean?
Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, man.
Yeah, How High, that's not on this album, but that's a dope track. He's dope to it as well. How, yeah,
Well, I meant to ask
high
you,
part.
maybe you knew about this, I'm not sure, man. When K Solo and what was the other guy? Because I think K Solo, if not, is related to Redman in some way. I'm not sure, because they kind of resemble each other, man. I don't know if you ever heard of K Solo. He was down with EPM.
Heard the name,
when
but
they were out back in the late 80s, early 90s. He made an album. I copped it. You know, he had a single off the album called The Fugitive. And he had another track called Your Mama's in My Business. He did some time, too, from what I remember. I don't know what happened. He kind of like faded off into the scene. And he never really came out with nothing else. But K Solo, from what I understand, you know, is in some way related or mean. I'm not sure. I'm not 100 on this, man. So I don't want people to think that I'm trying to say it's a fact. But I feel that he may be family with Redman, maybe cousins or something like that. I don't know. They just resemble each other a lot, though. Like if you see them both, you know, from a profile picture from side to side, and you would view it, you would see what I'm saying. But going back to my original question, man, as far as Eric Sermon, Nas FX, you know, that whole, I forgot the name of that crew, man. What was the name of the crew, Jay? You remember?
EPMD?
No, I'm talking about the, you know, like, they had the Boot Camp Clique. They had
Death Squad, that's it.
Death Squad, that's it.
Not Hit Squad.
Hit Squad. Hit Squad. It's either or. It's one of the two.
Yeah,
That's definitely one of the two.
Death Jam.
No, Hit Squad, I think. It was the Hit Squad. I think you hit it the second time.
Yeah, because there's a track on the album, I remember now, with Eric Sermon on it. That was alright.
But going back to that, man, do you know of anything in relation to that with this artist named K Solo?
I honestly don't know much about him. I've heard him shouted out on some other rappers' tracks. I've heard the name somewhere. I've even heard some of his tracks on a mixtape, to be fair, and forgotten about them. I don't know too much about the dude, but I have heard the name K Solo, yeah. I may have heard him on a Tone Touch mixtape. Sure. I've heard the
Probable.
tracks. Style or something like that. Highly likely.
An album. How far in did you get? Like, how far to the album did you hear? Did you listen to already?
I've not listened to any of his albums. I'm just talking like I may have heard him on a freestyle or something like that. On a mixtape, but I remember mixtape. I've just heard the name somewhere.
I'm asking, Jay, this is a separate question from the K Solo stuff. This is just you listening to the Redman album. You said that you haven't listened to it before. You started, like, checking it out. So I wanted to know how far in did you get into it? Like, where are you more or less?
The whole album.
Are you halfway through it? Did you finish the whole thing? Are you on the third track? You know, that sort of thing.
No, I've listened to the whole album now. About 2 weeks. It usually take me a week or so. Well, no, it takes me a couple of days, but I'm still listening to it for a week or two. I had my headphones break, so that made me take a bit longer. Yeah, I've listened to every track on it.
What did you feel?
Out of 10, I'd give it 7 out of 10.
Okay. Why did you give it that amount exactly?
There's other tracks I really like. You know what I mean? I might split on the album. Overall, I'd say it's
You
good.
basically were feeling time for some action. Tonight's the Night, of course. That's the one that stands out the most in that album.
Yeah, I'd say the best tracks. Night's the Night. Time for some action. The one which I can't remember the name of with Eric Sermon. a little snippet. I think it's called Hardcore or something like that. How to roll a blunt, and there's a track at the end. It's a remix of this was a bonus track, but I thought it was a decent track. The remix of I can't remember the name, but it's not really a remix. It's more like a new track with different lyrics with some similarities to the track. It's not like a proper remix of the exact track. Those are probably the best tracks on the album. I may have missed some, but I can't think of any others that stand out. Just the other tracks to me are like either fillers, some of the tracks that I'm not really like. Superman love them.
Got you.
Love others that I'm not too fussed about. Just not because they're bad tracks, but like they're just kind of like tracks where you're like, okay, that was okay, but you know, I wasn't really that bothered about it. You know, I'm not gonna, you know, play it again more than once. You know what I mean? Whereas like Tonight's the Night, I can play that again and again. All Time to Dim Action, I can play that again and again. You know what I mean? It's like the other tracks I like. So it's like the tracks that are ill are super ill. The tracks that are naff are like, nah, they're not that good, you know what I mean? Well, there isn't really a track that's like garbage. Well, there's some tracks that are just like, okay, you know, I'm not bothered about these tracks. They're okay, but you know, overall, the good tracks are really good. I guess it is the first album, so maybe he's like finding what works for him, you know what I mean? He's experimenting with different stuff. You get the feel with that with this album. You know, on the second album he made after this, apparently he was going through a dark period. He's going through a lot of difficult times. Apparently someone was saying like he was smoking weed that was related with PCP or something like that.
Oh shit, that's bad news, man. I didn't know that. What happened?
Yeah, I only going by what someone was saying about that album, but I'm going to listen to that album real soon, probably over the next couple of days. It's called There Is a Dark Side. Yeah, that's it. That's the second album.
Okay.
I mean, it was a hit and miss album. Some people liked it, some people didn't, because it was kind of weird or something, so definitely an interesting one.
Yeah, I bet.
Listen to the whole catalogue, man. Got a few other albums as well. One that probably no one's heard of is PMD. I can't remember the album's name now, but it's like PMD. That's their album, and you'll know one of the guys on this, Omega. He was on this. Interestingly enough,
I remember Cormega, man. That dude was ill right there. I don't know what happened, why he wasn't able to shine, man. I'm assuming, I have my ideas, my theories, my hunches on why. You know what I mean? But,
yeah, I think it can have so much to do with it, and the fact his voice sounded kind of unusual. I think as well, like they didn't have the kind of voice that they wanted for like the mainstream or something like that. But yeah, there's no denying that guy's ill. It's dope. I haven't listened to any of his albums, so I'm gonna have to definitely get on it. You know, so
same with me over here too.
Sleeping on that guy, man. I've not really been listening to a lot of his stuff, so I'm listening to that guy. I mean, I do like listening to the kind of on the edge and the fringes hip hop, you know, that people overlook. So, you know, we'll definitely go over I'm pretty sure it's either PMD or PND, something like that. I think it could be called Affirmative Action or something like that, their album. We'll go over that. And it's interesting, like I said, because one of them had beef, it sounds like, with KRS-One. He made a track, it's in KRS-One. So, yeah, man, we'll get into that and explore that.
That's what's up, man. That sounds interesting right there. I didn't even know about that, about the beef with KRS-One. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I literally just came across it by chance, and it was on a YouTube video. Someone had put a download link on it for the album. So I thought, okay, why not? You know what I mean? Just download it.
Pardon me, Jay. Before we go any further with that, I don't want to, like, you know, make people think that we're talking about something and then they go and they check and like, oh man, that shit wasn't a real beef. So to make things clear, it's a beef on wax, right? Going back and forth,
not like
right?
serious.
It's not a real beef like they want to kill each other or fight each other when they see each other type shit, right?
No, it's not that serious. There's a guy called
No, but what I'm saying is I wanted to reiterate that because you know how some people are, man. They're like, what? No, I didn't know this. And then they go look it up and they're like, man, people be talking, you know, shit or whatever. That wasn't even, that's not what we're saying, man. It's all beef on wax. It usually produces a good business strategy for both artists because, the people, the fans, are waiting to see what the other artist is going to say in rebuttal and shit like that. So it creates a sort of anticipation factor and a business strategy factor as well. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, it seems like a response to one of Careless's songs because you'll know the song I'm referring to where it says, so-and-so crew are down with us, they're down with us, and on the samples on his song, the guy, it's MC Poet now, I remember, samples the line from KRS One, but he said something like, but MC Poet ain't down with us, and then the song starts, and he starts.
I remember that. It's like a vague memory. I know, I think I'm getting where you're coming from with that. It's like, I'm trying to remember, but I remember the 100%, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, you recognize the song when I play it. I can hear it in my head. I can hear the beat and everything. I don't know, KRS is rapping. Hear it, but I don't know the name of the song. But it's in my mind, you know what I mean? It's there. Yeah, he says just something like, BDP crew are down with us. So are down with us. You know what I mean? It's that one. He sampled it. The Poet guy sampled that, and then offense to the line for MC Poet ain't down with us. Yes, KRS-One with that guy for some reason, or fell out, or I don't know. But I've never heard of MC Poet until I came across this album. So I guess he's on that crew. But we know Queensbridge and Bronx, they had the Juice crew and the other one, KRS-One and all that. So they had issues going on. That's the Boogie Down Productions and Juice Crew had their kind of rivalries with, when they claimed, was like, look, I think it was like the Juice Crew kind of hinted that hip hop started in Queens. And, Boogie Down Productions and Bronx and all that, they took offense to that, so they made the bridge over, didn't they? And that, assisting them. So that was kind of like, that was like one of the first, if not the first, hip hop beef that started, you know what I mean?
I definitely remember that. The bridge is over and the South Bronx, the South Bronx, Boogie Down Productions. I remember that.
Super old school. That's like one of the first, like, hip hop. Definitely
Actually, let me reiterate that, man. Going back, it's MC Shan. The bridge,
MC Shan,
the bridge, Queensbridge, that shit right there. And that's when KRS came out with the bridge is over, da-da-ba, that shit. South Bronx, the South Bronx, and then they were battling back and forth. I remember this, man. I grew up on that shit. I remember Red Alert, Chuck Chill Out, radio. It would have those, 2-hour specials on the weekends. Or on a certain day during the weekday, I think a Thursday or some shit like that. But definitely a Friday as well, a Saturday night. And they were battling back and forth, man, like putting that track going against that track. And the DJs were cutting that shit back and forth. Like you would hear, the bridge is over, and then you would hear, the bridge, Queensbridge. And then you hear them throw the other track on, the South Bronx, the South Bronx. That shit was like back to back. I was like, oh shit. So that's what I mean about creating hype and creating a certain atmosphere to get people to want more.
Yeah, I mean, that shit actually did kill that guy that was producing the KRS. Like,
Oh yeah, Scott LaRock, the DJ.
apparently it was a lucky shot, that as well, because the guy that shot him was using like a 2-2 from a long way away.
Yeah, that's what I heard. It was from like a roof.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was
positioned somewhere in a window, a project window, or a project roof or something.
Yeah, the crazy thing is, like, apparently it was like only like a 2-2 pistol, but it was from such a distance, like it was killed.
Honestly, I don't have enough information to be able to distinguish whether or not that's facts or not. I just know that I've heard through the grapevine, you know, certain things like that, you know what I'm saying? From when I was growing up listening to those artists at that particular time frame when they were going at it back to back and shit. I remember mostly the music back, opposed to the shit that happened with Scholar Rock. I mean, I heard about it. It's not like I didn't hear about it, but I didn't know enough to come out and be like, yeah, you know, this and that happened, and I heard this. I could come out like pretty much everybody else that heard it through the grapevine that didn't know all the facts, that they heard rumors about certain things. You know what I'm saying? That's conjecture. That's not something that's a fact 100%. You know what I'm saying? But if you got people who are in the mix and that know those people and they were there, that's a different story. I didn't have that back then. I can't speak for those people, but I'm sure there had to be people that did have connections with that clique, or actually both cliques from opposite sides, that knew people, and that probably even heard or even saw what possibly happened and went down, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I mean, another thing to consider as well, thinking outside the box here, is what if that guy wasn't killed by some gang rivalry? What if he was knocked off by police or something like that because they saw it as like a way to keep the ghetto down and keep people down? You know what I'm saying? Like how they were suppressing black leaders and stuff like that. Maybe they...
Well, you make a valid point, Jay. I wouldn't be surprised that if that's what it turned out to be later on and the facts will come out, and it was possibly the CIA who set him up to get killed and start that whole rivalry and, you know, that whole movement and that whole bullshit, because they do shit like that. So I see where you're going with it. You're definitely making a valid point. We're not saying that that's what happened here. We're just saying that it's a strong possibility due to the fact that other shit in the past, in history, has happened in that way. You know what I mean? So, yeah, man. Possibly.
By the East and West hip hop rivalry, where they were saying they felt like the media was trying to make it worse. You know what I'm saying? They were trying to make it worse.
Right, yeah, the media is famous for doing that all the time. That's what they do.
Yeah, I'm just thinking it may be like part of a similar strategy to what they were doing there, like trying to play two sides against each other.
Yeah, kind of like the way they did with the Pac and Biggie thing. The whole East Coast, West Coast bullshit.
Yeah, because that's how they do it, man. Like, that's how they try to beat people. And they'll try and get groups fighting against each other.
I still remember when Pac said this, man. He was still alive and he was on MTV, and Snoop Dogg was sitting right next to him. He was like mad quiet. He didn't say shit, but you could tell he was kind of shook talking about Snoop. Pac kept saying what he felt, like always, man. He was like, at the end of this whole shit, don't look at me or Biggie, you know, claiming this and that. And this man here had made a whole East Coast hate a whole West Coast and all this other shit. You know, at the end of the day, don't look at us, because the media is the ones that shooting this shit to over 300 million, you know, televisions throughout the world internationally, man. So I'm like, looking at what he said right there, paraphrasing what he said, and I'm like, he's right. You know what I mean? That's what they do. Create conflict when there isn't one, or they fan the flames of something that might be, you know, a little something going on there, but they'll make that shit a huge deal. Instead of a little spark, a little flame, they turn that shit into a roaring blaze. You know what I mean?
Yeah, that's definitely what they do. That's how they try to rub salt in the wounds and stuff. And we'll be getting to the Redman album, so I think we'll be doing that maybe next week. I'll be able to review the second one. By the way, I believe I didn't mention the name of this album, so it's called What's the Album, which is spelled W-H-E-C, I think, or W-H-E-C album, something like that. I also forgot to mention how it starts off with like a skit where almost like in a mental hospital or some shit like that, and he's like being talked to by someone saying, "Oh, Redman, we're gonna get you to express your anger," or something like that, and then it starts off with like this kid laughing and shit like that, and then starts off with a track. The album cover is like a bit like horror film theme. A bit weird, but yeah, that's what it was like on the album cover. It has like Redman with like blood on his hand and some shit like that, like a horror film inspired cover. Kind of weird, you know what I mean? But yeah, the album was like it kind of is all over the place. The album it's a good album, but definitely odd, in some ways. Not your typical hip hop album. There's also horrorcore aspects to it as well. Horror kind of themed lyricism as well. But yeah, there's a lot of different kind of styles, and some horror themes, some serious themes, some comedic themes. It's all over the place, but it mostly works. Some of it doesn't, but I'd say like 70-80% of it works. Honestly.
Right.
But I won't lie, some of the tracks are not very good, but the rest are dope. That's my kind of verdict on the album. It's like 70-80% of it dope, but the rest is like, I'm not bothered about it. You know what I mean?
Right.
I would say it's not his tiny album. I doubt it. I mean, I can't speak on that because I'm not listening to the rest of them, but it's a debut album, so I guess it's like his foot in the door and putting, starting his recording career, I guess. So, like I said, it'd be definitely interesting to listen to the second one, because I think the second one, from what I've heard, is a lot more dark, kind of worried, kind of strange, you know what I mean? So it'll be interesting to read that, see what that's about. But yeah, man, pretty much concludes it. I can't think of much else to say on this album. Yeah.
What's the name of that other album that you're going to review next week?
There is a Dark Side, which is spelled D-A-R-E, and then I think it's I-Z, a Dark Side.
Okay, that's the one that you mentioned earlier, where he smokes PCP with the weed, right?
Yeah, this is the one where I was researching about the album, and someone said that he's going through dark times, like someone supposedly lacing the weed he was getting and stuff like that, or he was smoking that kind of, funky shit, that was mixed with the weed. Not pure, but like apparently it was laced or something like that. I have heard rappers talk about that. Mob used mentioned like angel dust being put into the weed and stuff like that, so I guess it was a thing back then. Maybe to make it stronger, or I've also experienced that from weed I've had in the UK, man, because around 2 years ago I was smoking some weed, man, and I remember smoking it and it fucked me up, man. Like it didn't do what weed is meant to do, man. Like all of a sudden I remember just being sort of like sat down somewhere, and like my vision went kind of like a TV screen goes, and I was stuck, sat in this area for about 2 or 3 hours. I could move, but it's like I didn't want to move, you know what I'm saying? And I've never had that with weed before. Like you can get couch love, but now, man, this was this, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure.
Yeah, man, what are you saying, Jay, that the weed was possibly laced with that shit?
I would say highly likely, yeah, because effectively this was around when I was beginning to smoke. So I wasn't too sure how it's meant to feel. But like thinking back, yeah, man, that shit was definitely not. It made me feel different to how weed is meant to make you feel. I remember just, after smoking it, feeling like really weird, and like my vision went really bizarre, like kind of crackly, like a TV screen. And I was just like in this area for about 2 or 3 hours. It was in a remote area where no one was found, but I didn't want to go for 2 or 3 hours, and then I came back. I'm pretty sure that maybe it had that same stuff in or something like it. So it does happen, you know what I mean? It can, if you're buying your weed on the street, they sometimes put other drugs into the weed, make it stronger, or make the high last longer, or give it a more intense feeling.
Give it like a boost.
Hope that people will come back and buy it. Yeah, man. It's like if you don't know what you're smoking, then
yeah, you're right about that. I'm glad that everything turned out fine with you, man. I've heard stories, man. I've heard like tragic horror stories, man. Back in the days in my neighborhood, man, there was a kid who was like 16 years old, and he got some weed from this known place back then. I'm not gonna mention no names or places or what have you, but this place was known to lease it, and I don't know exactly what it was, if it was roach spray or whatever the fuck it was that they were using as an enhancer to the weed to make it more potent. But apparently this kid, man, he got a hold of that weed, took a couple of totes from that, then he decided to go play basketball. Unbeknownst to him, the feeling of whatever he was feeling that he was trying to chase, that he kept hearing from the neighborhood how that shit was some good weed. When he was playing ball, he caught a heart attack. And he died right there on the scene playing basketball in the court. This is within my neighborhood, man.
That's another thing I remember. I smoked this shit, like my heart was going a million times.
Yeah, man. And this was a kid, 16 years old. There's no reason why he couldn't be able to handle some shit like that. So whatever it was that they laced it with was definitely some lethal shit. That shouldn't have even been in there. But most of the reason why people popped that weed back then was because they knew they would get that extra boost, that extra high, but they didn't know what the fuck it was in there. They didn't care. They just wanted to get that extra boost. Shit is ridiculous, bro.
I mean, that's the thing. It's like, if you've been smoking for years, you know how it's meant to feel. You know what I mean? You know when something's off. It's like if you're like me back then, because it was like 2011, I think, around the time, I'd only been smoking for like a couple of years. So, I wasn't really fully aware of how it's meant to feel. You know what I'm saying? So, it's like, if I get a different high, I might be like, oh yeah, maybe it's different weed or different to it. But it's like, yeah, man, that shit was definitely, I think, laced with something, because I've never had weed before since it made me feel like that. But I do remember, something you mentioned the heart thing, because I remember around the time I had that, my heart was going like a million miles an hour, like really fast. And I remember just being like couch locked in this area. I sat down for about 2 or 3 hours, and my vision was just like really weird. You know what I mean? It was like I could see, but it was like looking for a TV screen with like black and white mixed in with the color. But I also remember like my memory was just very, I couldn't really remember what happened. You know what I'm saying? Around the time I was high, I couldn't really remember what happened. You know what I mean? So whatever it was, did that effect. I think I remember after that, I had some other weed, and I just, mixed the weed that made me feel odd with the other weed to kind of like, make it less intense. Yeah, man, I remember that clearly, like that. It was strong. I'm pretty certain it wasn't just the weed being strong. I think it was definitely something to make it more potent. Would have been.
Right. I just wanted to say this real quick, man. I don't mean to try to end the call, man. This is your call, brother, but, we got like maybe 5 minutes left. I would be up. I'd like to end it on this note with a quick story. This is my own personal story from my own experience, by the way. I remember, I think it was that same batch of weed that I had just mentioned to you before that killed that young man in my neighborhood who smoked it. Um, I was with my best friend at the time who offered me something. I was smoking with him in the park. And I remember laughing in the beginning because usually, you get the giggles. And I wasn't really a smoker like that. And I remember by the time we were walking back to the block, me and him got into an argument. And we never really got into an argument like that. So he was tripping off the fact that I was even going there with him. And then I was like, got to the block and my eyes were like bloodshot red. That the guy from the neighborhood, who's like an old school guy, he's like an uncle at the time to me, he said, yo, what the hell happened to your eyes? What happened? And he was like, yo, he was smoking such and such. And I was like, oh, man, why did you, get him to do that? You know he don't really do that shit. And I remember feeling like I was going to get a heart attack coming on. Now, that's not unusual, though, with some weed. You know what I'm saying? Some people, they get that feeling for whatever reason. And it could be stuff that they're thinking about that'll lead them down that path. They feel like they're going to have a heart attack while they're smoked out on weed. Now, there's a difference between that and the shit that's laced, of course. That shit will take you straight there, regardless of what you're thinking about, right? Because it's chemical reactions. So to me, I believe it was a combination of both. And the person that I was with, my best friend at the time, he thought quick because he's been experienced with all that stuff. He said, yo, don't worry, man. I'm going to get you back down. I'm going to help you come back down. So he remembered that milk will help you come down. So he bought ice cream. He bought, milk and stuff. He said, yo, man, just drink this, man, and eat this. And just chill, man. You'll be all right. You'll be all right. It took some time. We were watching a Kung Fu flick, my crib. And it took about close to 45 minutes to an hour, and I started feeling better, and I started calming down. He goes, yo, you good? I said, yeah. He goes, yo, man, my back, bro, for even offering you that shit. I was like, nah, worry about it, man. My back for getting like that with you and all this. So what I'm trying to say is that those things could react and spark things in people that have, like, anger issues like myself, things that have happened to me, like with this, we're not going to speak on that, on this call, because this is a hip-hop call, but to prove the point of when you got certain things going on that you don't even know is going on in the background, which I believe during that time, it may have been something going on too, but this dude didn't want it to go there. You know what I'm saying? And he made a mistake somewhere. He thought we were just going to chill and whatever, and I wasn't going to be able to handle it. But that shit took a left turn quick. Those chemicals that reacted in my mind and my body chemistry at the time was going to be a bad one. Not only for the reaction that I was giving, but also what could have happened to me, because I felt like I kept telling him, yo, man, my heart is beating fast. He goes, yo, don't focus on that. Don't focus on that. And he just thought about, getting stuff that had milk in it and shit, and also milk itself, cold milk, just drink that shit. It took a while, like I said, but it did bring the high down eventually. And I came back into my senses and my wits of myself. And then, we both apologized to each other. We're like, yo, what the fuck? Yo, man, I don't know, but I'm not even going to fuck with that shit either no more, man. Something ain't right with that shit. And I think during that time, either right after or maybe somewhere down the road, that's when that shit happened with that kid where he caught a heart attack. He was playing ball right after. So, needless to say, man, that there's people who do shit like that just to make more money. And they don't give a fuck about people's, mindset after the fact or their health or their life, period. It's not about that to them. It's about making money.
Yeah, there was some fucked up shit in the UK.
I understand that whole thing about business and all that, but, that shit right there, bro, about mixing deadly chemicals and shit like that, man, is fucking... But what's even more stupid, if you think about it, is the people who, after the fact, find out that it got some fucking chemicals in there that are toxic and that can kill you, and still go cop that shit. That's deep.
Yeah, I mean, if it's PCP or something like that, I think that shit's ridiculous as well. People are probably doing it for that. It's talking of
Yeah, that's
weed,
that's
there
also possible.
was some fucked up shit in the UK, like in 2010, around that time, like there was something going around called grit weed, where they would literally put like fiberglass in with the weed, man, make it look more crystally. Like, yo, a lot of people's lungs
That's
got
crazy.
fucked up
They
with that shit.
put that. I heard that they put that as one of the many chemicals in Newport cigarettes, the menthol cigarettes that I used to smoke. I heard that fiberglass is put in that motherfucker.
Yeah, milk. I remember using milk. Don't do this anymore, and I don't intend on ever doing it again. Because I went through a period where I was having, magic mushrooms. Because in the UK, there's these mushrooms that grow called Liberty caps. You can pick them in certain fields, and they're quite easy to find and recognize when you know what to look for. And I got some of them. I was tripping on them. I had some of those, and I remember the sky went like a yellow color, and then it went like purple, and then red. I was like, what the fuck? And then I remember just starting to see like hallucinations, like an angel in the sky. At one time I saw, and then I started seeing like demonic-looking things in the wall, like moving in the wall. So I was like, oh shit. And I was tripping too much. So I had some milk, because I'd read somewhere that milk brings it down. And I had the milk, and then basically after about 20 minutes, it didn't stop it, but like it vastly reduced the negative feelings and the effects of it. I'm saying things are no joke. I mean, they can't physically harm you, but you have to be very careful with magic mushrooms. Because if you're in the wrong place tripping, man, you're going to have a horrible experience. You know what I'm saying?
Well, that's one thing that I stayed away, very, 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 very far away from, bro. Hallucinogenics, any type of hallucinogenic drugs, mushrooms and all that, mescaline, tabs, that sort of thing, I've stayed away from. I always was curious, though, because motherfuckers would take it and they'll be tripping, man, laughing and talking for and the shit is like 8 hours long, like a fucking job shift.
Yeah.
So I said to myself, damn, who the fuck would want to go that long being high? It sounds like at some point you want to stop and you want to chill, but you can't. That's fucked up.
That's the problem. Once you're on the train, you got to ride the train pretty much. For me, it lasted about 5 hours, 6 hours. But definitely, I wouldn't recommend it unless you're interested. But I still wouldn't recommend it. But this is just my experience. It was nice for like, a few months. But then I had a bad trip, and I never wanted to have that shit again. You know what I'm saying? That's how it was. Like, you might get
what they told me was, some dude came to me, he said, yo, R.T, man, knowing how you are, just the way you are, bro, you're a very passionate, emotional, intense dude, man. Don't do it, bro. And he was serious. He was like, his eyes were tearing up a little bit. He said, yo, don't do it, man. I was like, damn, nigga, boo. Is it that serious? He goes, yes, it is, man. Don't do it, bro.
You can't take hallucinogens for a joke, man. It's like, if you're going to do them indoors, don't go outside. Stay in a place where you're cool. One thing I recommend people should never have is salvia, man. I tried that shit. That was even worse than shrooms, man. I had that once, I never had that shit again, man.
I know of people who have taken PCP that were once, okay. They were like, quote unquote, normal. They could talk with you, converse with you, laugh. They had girls. They were popular, that sort of thing. And then something happened where they had a real bad trip and they never came back. Their mind stayed there. It's like their whole life shifted. Now the person's become like a recluse. They're like, they don't talk much. They talk, but not much like they used to. They lost connection with the reality that was once there. Holy shit. And then they're legally, claimed as, I think it's called, is a term, legally insane or some shit like that. There's a term for it, man. It's not their fault, technically. I mean, it is because they did what they did. They tried that drug and they got, they ended up going and having a really bad trip and not coming back. But it's like, Yo, it's like Russian roulette, man. Playing with that fucking drug. That's why I stay fucking far away from any type of hallucinogenics, acid, mescaline, fucking tabs, you know, PCP. None of that shit. Angel dust. PCP is angel dust. Fucking those hard drugs like that. You know, hallucinogenic drugs rather. Stay away from the farthest I went, man. Like you already know, and most people who know me, is alcohol, cocaine. That was snorted. I never smoked it. I snorted cocaine, which is bad. That's just as bad. And, you know, cigarettes and weed here and there. That was it. You know
Yeah,
when I came across people who did it, they would intrigue me with the fact that they would be on that shit for like 6, 8 hours. I'm like, it sounds like a fucking mission, man. Like a job shit. He goes, yeah, all you gotta do is just keep your thoughts positive, man. We'll have a good trip. But knowing how, like, the dude told me, he knew me, how I am and shit. So he was like, yo, don't do it, man. Because you're liable to think about some fucked up shit. You could be chilling throughout the whole shit, like 7 hours into it. You could be fine. You could be, you know, looking at shit and colorful shit, glowing and all this, and you're smiling and you're laughing and all. But it just takes that one thought, me, to fuck up the whole shit and take you like a roller coaster all the way down, me. I'm like, oh shit, me, fuck that.
I agree. That's pretty much it, man. It's like, after that, I never had it again. It's like, once you have a bad experience, it's really bad. It's really good until you have a bad experience, then it's really bad, and you don't want to fuck with that shit again. You know what I mean? That's my personal experiences with that. It was interesting, you know, and it did give me insight into things. Like, people do use it for spiritual purposes, but I would say, like, that's the only thing you should use it for. But it's one of them things where you should hit it and quit it. You know what I mean? It's like you shouldn't make a habit of doing it because you don't want to have a bad experience on that, because it is pretty scary. You know what I mean? It's very scary actually when you have a bad experience on that shit. 'Cause it's like you can't just turn it off. You know what I'm saying? It's like you can't just like, oh shit, fuck that. You know what I mean? You can't do that. It's like you have to ride it out. So it's like it's almost like you're forced to face your worst fears if you have a bad experience on that shit. Like some people, I guess, you know, they can't hack it, you know, and it damages them mentally, and definitely not, you know, if you don't think you'll enjoy it, don't bother. You know what I'm saying? Definitely.
One thing about me, man, I always stuck with what I could handle. I never try to venture out. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, I was curious. I would ask questions about shit, but I would never go as far as actually doing it. You know what I mean? Once I knew what it was and what it did, I'm like, what? Nah, fuck that. Nah, but when that dude came to me and told me that shit really, like, made me realize, like, nah, fuck that shit. For this dude to get like that and tell me that shit gotta be serious.
Yeah, he definitely was right, man. Serious business with those things. Like, they can't physically harm you, a lot of them, but it's the mental damage they can do if it goes bad. You know what I'm saying? Like, it didn't damage me, luckily, but I do remember feeling strange for about a year or two after I had had that experience. Feel okay now, but I still remember those experiences. You know what I'm saying? Do I regret it? No, because I learned stuff from it, but would I have it ever again? Fuck no. I mean, no way. No way I'm gonna go down there again. You know what I mean? That's all.
I hear that.
I intend to reopen it.
Yo, Jay, man, so at this point, if you don't mind, brother, closing your call, man, and just letting your listeners know what's coming next time. For the next episode, you already said the whole Red match you're going to go into the other album. But, yeah, man, just you got the floor, brothers. Your call, man, because we got to wrap this up at this point, man. So we can go into our own joint. You already know.
Yeah, man, so we'll be going over the Redman album. I've got to listen to it first, of course, which I will be probably this week. Well, definitely this week. Yeah, I'll start listening to it this week. It's only on Wednesday. I've got time to listen to it. I've listened. Yeah, I'll definitely should have listened to it by next week. So we'll have that done by then, and review it and give my honest opinion on it.
With that being said, this has been Night of Thunder and R.T's Let's Talk True Hip Hop Edition, Episode 8. Stay tuned, y'all. Back for more.
Check it out. Flip mode squad, Lord Deluxe shit, 98. Check it out, yo. I be the street shit, the nigga your mama freak with. Put y'all niggas on if y'all know how to keep a secret. When I get money, you know I like to keep it. How I get money, niggas to try to peep it. Flip mode, be niggas you wanna form a team with. Them get money niggas, the ones that plot the scheme with. Them niggas that be used to getting money frequent. The ones I would always measure my triple beam with. Until they start taking my niggas to the precinct. That's so back in the day, yo, that ain't nothing recent. Cause nowadays we need bitches we like to speak with, eat with, lay them down and sleep with. Type of pussy make a nigga wanna keep it. Shorty be so exotic, she looking decent. Lot of corny niggas be offering whack free shit. I can't hold the heat no more, yo, I gotta release it. What y'all wanna do? Don't you know we always coming through? Me and my crew, let me hear you say fired up. Say fired up. To all my dogs that stay blooded, roll around in the 500 all day. Let me hear you say fired up. Say fired up. Come on. Now, every time that I meet a nigga who fronted this alright, cause we getting money and everybody want it. Smoke a big split, get myself over blood and fall on the floor, and I gotta call my S500 Iceberg 5. Where you at?
No need for alarm. Right now I'm cruising to the sounds of my enhanced CD-ROM.
Hurry up, 5, and yo, you know it's about to get thick. I see this cat from way behind my back, about to do a stick.
Tell me where you at, I will be there in 10 seconds flat. You know I got your back, I'll be there just in time to counteract.
Sometimes I might forget my S5 bulletproof. I turbo move and blast right through your motherfucking roof. Coming through hitting you, knocking out a nigga too. Full speed ahead like we running a toll booth. Reduce more flavor than very fine juice. Call a truce before me and my niggas are let loose. All my ladies in the place to be, getting money riding next to me. Let me see, let me hear you say fired up. Say fired up. All my people just wave your hand, getting money all across the land. One time, let me hear you say fired up. Say fired up. Release the heat, we letting loose to the extreme. We in the Iceberg S5, bounce from the scene. Recline my seat, rock to the beat, leaning so hard, it's like the whole squad up in the Jeep. Blowing up the spot and we hit them, know what I mean. Got you open, we keeping you niggas up like caffeine. Flying guillotine, seeing everything on my little computer screen. From here to Philippines, keep it moving, we never run out of gasoline. Gas me, I arson a nigga with kerosene. Me and my vibe, be running the mission you never seen. Hot shit, they